6 months since the divorce, Clara dedicated her life to working harder. But at night, when Clara was returning home from the office, a man suddenly grabbed her wrist and whispered, "Follow me and pretend to be my future wife." Who was that man, really? Before starting the story, don't forget to click subscribe and write in the comments section what city you are watching from. Daniel, demonstrating a shocking, previously hidden talent for theatrical performance, launched into a ridiculous, convoluted story about their fictitious first meeting. He embellished the fake narrative with convincing, intimate details, describing a chance encounter at an art gallery opening and a shared, profound appreciation for Renaissance portraiture. Clara, channeling her inner actress, quickly caught on, chiming in with playful retorts and supplementary details that solidified the lie. For a brief, intoxicating moment, she actually forgot that none of this was real. As Daniel smoothly transitioned into discussing the finer points of his corporate project, Clara listened attentively. She surprised him, and herself, by offering several shrewd, insightful comments on the business strategy, a testament to her own professional competence. Daniel shot her a genuinely admiring look, and Clara felt a surprising flutter of warmth. He was a decent, earnest, and deeply passionate man. She realized, a truly good person caught in a ridiculous bind. The dinner conversation flowed, a precarious dance of business jargon and fake, flirtatious intimacy. Then, one of Daniel's colleagues, a sharp-eyed woman named Penelope, leaned forward, her expression friendly, but unmistakably shrewd. "My goodness, Daniel, this is wonderful news. How long have you two been dating?" she asked, her voice light and probing. Daniel squeezed Clara's hand tightly beneath the table. 2 years. Can you believe it?" he answered without the slightest hesitation, his practiced smile flawless. Clara froze. A silent gasp caught in her throat. 2 years? She and Andrew had only been divorced for 6 months. The timeline was absurdly, dangerously close. Before Clara could form any kind of internal protest, Daniel, with the smooth, terrifying confidence of a man lying for his life, continued. "And we're planning the wedding in 2 months. Just the venue hunting now. All the vendors are lined up," he said, his voice brimming with an enthusiastic certainty that was utterly convincing. A cold wave of dread swept over Clara. She felt like a deer caught in the headlights. She risked a glance at Andrew. He was staring at her, but his eyes were now utterly vacant, devoid of all expression. It was as if a small, silent bomb had detonated inside his skull. That blank stare was infinitely more painful than any look of anger he could have given her. She felt trapped, a hapless victim caught between 2 men, and a lie that was expanding exponentially with every word. The waiter arrived, placing a perfectly seared plate of filet mignon in front of Clara. Her eyes, suddenly and painfully, fixed on the small decorative cluster of baby carrots placed meticulously next to the steak. A tiny, insignificant detail. Yet for Clara, it was a searing, painful reminder of a past she was trying desperately to outrun. Her heart clenched. A sudden, unexpected shadow fell over her. Andrew was standing beside her chair. His face was a mask of granite, his eyes burning with an intense, focused energy. He didn't utter a word. Instead, with a calm, precise, and authoritative movement, Andrew picked up his own fork, reached across the table, and systematically scooped every single baby carrot from Clara's plate, transferring them to his own empty bread plate. "I am so sorry, Clara. Truly. I had absolutely no idea," Daniel said, his apology sincere and deep. He looked devastated that he had unknowingly forced her into such a traumatic, humiliating situation. Clara simply nodded. "It's okay, Daniel. You were desperate, and honestly, it's not the first time Andrew has seen me in a chaotic situation." When they finally reached Clara's apartment building, they exchanged contact information. Daniel, visibly relieved but still burdened by guilt, asked again what she wanted as payment. Clara smiled, a genuine small lift of the corners of her mouth, the first real smile of the night. "I don't want anything, Daniel. Thank you for the free, if intensely stressful, steak dinner." Daniel smiled back, a sincere, grateful expression that wiped the stress lines from his face. He lifted a hand in a final wave, and she walked toward her door. Inside her quiet apartment, before she could even shed her suit jacket, Clara's phone buzzed with a notification. It was a text message from an unknown number. She opened it. "I'm glad you've moved on, Clara. Daniel seems like a decent, hardworking man." Andrew, a sharp, searing pain shot through the small cavity of Clara's heart. Tears, hot and fast, immediately streamed down her cheeks, blurring the polite, detached words on the screen. In that moment, she realized that beneath all the pride and exhaustion, a raw, aching part of her still missed Andrew. But the message also confirmed the painful, cold reality. Andrew was clearly not missing her. The following days became a strange, unexpected continuation of that insane night. Clara's phone vibrated frequently with texts from Daniel. He wasn't asking her to pretend anymore. The contract was fulfilled. But he checked in often, inquiring about her day, sending funny observations, and eventually asking her out for dinner. Clara, still nursing the fresh wound inflicted by Andrew's polite, distancing text, always refused. Her heart was a construction site still undergoing messy, dangerous demolition. She wasn't ready to start building something new. She was still too preoccupied with the debris of the old. Then, one rainy afternoon, scrolling mindlessly through an old acquaintance's social media feed, she saw it. A photo, clearly recent, uploaded by Andrew. He was smiling broadly, truly happy, his arm around a stunning, cheerful woman with bright, fiery red hair. A quick search confirmed it. Andrew and Maya, his new girlfriend. Clara's world didn't stop, but the noise did. She collapsed onto her couch and wept for hours, a deep, cleansing, and necessary torrent of grief. It wasn't the first time she had cried over Andrew, but this time, the tears felt different. They were the last painful acknowledgement that their chapter was definitively, irrevocably closed. She had to let go of the past, and finally, truly, move on. The next morning, Daniel texted her again, inviting her to a casual Italian spot near Central Park. "Let me buy you a non-work-related glass of wine. No carrots, I promise." Clara looked at the message, then at her tear-swollen reflection. It was time. It was the only way forward. She needed to start living again. She accepted. Their second meeting was a world away from the first. There were no desperate whispers, no forced smiles, and no high-stakes clients. They talked easily, naturally. Daniel opened up about his past, admitting his long-standing discomfort with the corporate charades required by his industry. Clara shared the raw, honest truth about her life post-divorce, the crippling loneliness, and the fear of starting over. Daniel listened with a patience and a lack of judgment that Clara hadn't even realized she was starving for. She found an unexpected comfort in his presence, a gentle, steady calmness that contrasted sharply with the passionate, volatile intensity of her relationship with Andrew. They had lunch, then wandered aimlessly through the park, laughing at their shared absurd history. Daniel confessed that he hadn't enjoyed a conversation so much in years. Clara admitted the same. "Don't say no next time I ask you out, Clara," he said, his green eyes meeting hers. No trace of panic left, only a hopeful honesty. Clara readily agreed. After that second encounter, Clara began to see a sincerity in Daniel, a genuine, kind-hearted nature that she hadn't expected to find in the man who had hijacked her life. Slowly, tentatively, Daniel didn't just fill the gaping void left by Andrew. He gently, methodically, rebuilt Clara's shattered self-confidence. They met frequently. Sometimes it was just a simple coffee break at a tiny, crowded cafe near her office. Sometimes a long, winding walk through the Metropolitan Museum. Daniel was never demanding or aggressive. He was simply there, a patient listener, a funny, devoted friend, and a remarkably solid presence. He ensured that Clara felt comfortable, cherished, and valued in a way she hadn't felt in years. One cold November evening, Daniel surprised her. He took her back to Le Ciel, the very bistro where their lives had disastrously intersected. The air inside still held that romantic, golden hue, but this time, there was no tension, only anticipation. After they finished their meal, Daniel reached across the table, his gaze locking with hers with a new, profound intensity. It wasn't the panicked urgency of 6 weeks ago, but a deep, settled certainty. "Clara," he whispered, his voice slightly rough with emotion. "I never in a million years thought I would find you standing by that counter. But since that crazy night, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. You burst into my life when I was at my lowest, and you, inadvertently, gave me a new beginning." He took a deep breath, his grip tightening around her hands. "I'm not asking you to pretend anymore. I'm asking you to be my real fiancée, Clara. The one I want to spend the rest of my real life with." Clara felt a sudden rush of warm tears spill onto her cheeks. She was shocked, not by disbelief, but by the sheer, unadulterated happiness of the moment. "Oh, Daniel," she whispered, tears streaming down her face as she squeezed his hands back. "I feel the same way. Yes, I want to be your real fiancé.